Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trading Within the Box here, August 3rd, 2023 here, and welcome to the charts classroom here. First of all, this is not a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold any stocks, bonds, futures, or Forex, or any options. This is an educational video only on learning about patterns. If you'd like to purchase stocks or options, bonds, futures, Forex, please contact a licensed professional. They will help you there. Okay, so let's get to it here. Just want to go over some stuff here. And we just had a alert, hold on a second, on Microsoft crossing up. And let's go over, we're going to go over J&J, but hold on a second here. Okay, so I wanted to just, had a little alert on Microsoft because we're in a buy area here, okay? So right here in this spot. Now, we had a little sideways consolidation here, okay? So what's happening here is, let's go to a small time frame because we had a little consolidation, but we want to see if this is going to bounce a little bit here, okay? Let's go over to a 5-minute chart and let's just see what's going on here. So we have the consolidation right here, okay? So let's see if we get some follow-through volume right in this spot here, okay, on Microsoft. Let's see what they're going to do, if they're going to start buying it off of this area here, okay? So they came off the very bottom here at 326, and now we're at 329.51. So let's see what happens here, okay, on Microsoft. Now let's respectively flip over to the S&P 500 here, okay? So now we're looking at a daily chart here on the S&P 500, and as we're going into this area here, we had this little sideways consolidation here. We popped up with this thing right here, and that's a bearish candlestick. That's a sell signal right there. Okay, whenever you see that, you'll see that pop up like that. Now, this is pattern recognition. You'll see this kind of thing, and then this kind of thing. It's like one of those little baby head and shoulders, okay, right at the top there. Okay, you'll see that. You also see that on the bottom for a bullish signal. A lot of times you'll see it drop down. I don't know if I could find one for you here. And you'll see one like this right here before a big move to the upside, something like that, okay? And that's how you determine a change in direction. You'll see it sometimes all the way at the bottom of here it is right here. Okay, so let's say this was on October 13th, 2022, okay? So right here on the S&P, look at that. It's a little bit bigger, okay, but you'll see that at the top. So remember, I just drew that little head and shoulders thing there. Okay, so that was a huge buy signal. Now we flip over to where we are now, okay, and what do we see? We're seeing that. We're getting that signal. Not as big, so the move may not be as big. But then we come down. When we break down, look at the volume here now. We're coming down with 93.93 million shares, okay, on S&P 500. And that, as you look at it on the support level, as you're heading down, you're heading down to the 443.42. So that's where we're heading down. Now, we could get small little bounces like on the 2-hour chart, things like that, you know, and then come back down. They don't usually always go straight down, okay? Let's look at a 2-hour chart on the S&P 500 here on August 3rd, 2023. And what do we have going on? We're at support, okay? That's what I was saying. You have to be careful, okay? So these markets always like to come back where they either sold off or where they bought off, okay? So, and what did it do? It came to exactly where they bought off, okay? That's where it's coming to right now, okay? As you can see my arrow there, okay? So you'll see a little more buyers coming in here as the stochastics on the bottom, and it's a little oversold on a 2-hour chart. Now, markets don't go straight up usually. I mean, all right, you had a power move there, but now you're here, okay? So now you're at support. So you could get a little bit of a positive bounce here, okay? Now, if you get a positive bounce and we base here, okay, then we start heading up and we go retest this area again, that could very well happen again. So it's something that we're going to have to look out for, because look at the volume here right now. Now, this is today. Look at the 2-hour chart here. Look at the volume here. Now, it's only 11:25 in the morning here, okay, on August 3rd, 2023. So can we get a bounce off the 2-hour chart here on the S&P 500? Okay, so what you'll do is go over to a 15-minute chart And what do you see? Okay, you do have some small amounts of buying. So now compare the buying to the last time they actually really bought, okay? So you can go back and you'll see that there was bigger follow-through volume in this spot right here, right there, than here, okay? So let's see what they do with a little bit of a bounce here. So, okay, so we're getting into this area where we want to look at also retest W, okay? So we have a small one right here, okay? We have this little small one, and we have a little small one here. So let's see if we get this kind of thing, and then we start heading up to the resistance area. Resistance area on S&P 500 is 452.65, okay? That's going to be a sell point on this bounce, okay? So let's go over. I always like to look at the volume on the 45-minute chart to know where we are and what's happening. Now, as we were coming down and we were up in this zigzag area right here, okay, what was happening as we were looking down at the volume, okay? There were no buyers. There's no buyers here, okay? You can see it. Tons of sellers right here, okay? Then it's drying up. See how it drew? It was drying up, and then boom, we got the drop. You'll see it dry up, and then you get the drop. You had the nice selling volume there, and then what do you have here? Of course, you're at support now, okay? You're at support, so they're buying. Well, they're covering off of support. Let's see if there's a bounce, and then we get this, and we start taking it out. We're short again, okay, right? So let's see. So a lot of the shorts, SDS, if you look at it, excuse me, look at the SDS, which is the flip side of the market, and where were we? Okay, now I had drawn in this red area right here. If you look at this red little spot right here, I drew where the biggest sellers were when I was looking at the order flow, okay? Where were the biggest sellers, okay? And they were right up here. Okay, we had monster sellers in this spot at 33. Let's call it 33.96. Okay, on the SDS. So what happened? Boom! It sold off. Okay, it sold off right in that spot. Now we look at the SMH. Okay, the SMH is the semiconductors, and look at the SMH now. Okay, so we're coming down to these areas, right? We're coming into the buy areas now. Okay. For a bounce. Okay, that's what I want to go over with everybody. Now, look at the interest when we came. Now, when we bounced off, well, we didn't bounce. We had a little cluster of consolidation right there, and there was nothing going on. Now, right here, there is something going on, okay? There is a little interest. Volume falling off on a 45-minute chart, but there's a little interest. So you want to see something like this, maybe hold, and then we start going again. That could happen. Now we want to look. We want to see if the XLF on the banks is going to do the same thing. Now remember, this is a bounce for a trade. Because remember this. Now keep this in mind. Okay, this could be a big time short here. Now watch the line chart. What do we have going on here? As we always talk about the retest W, we have the retest M formation, and we get one right there. Okay. Now we got another retest M formation here, okay? So what is this? This could be a bounce up to resistance. We watch the volume fall off, and then we come back down again, okay? And then this market will be correcting, okay? Okay, that's how you're going to know what's actually happening as you're looking at this. Now, let's go back to the XLF on a 45-minute chart because I want to see the volume. Now, we look at the volume. And we do have, when we came back, when we came up in this area, okay, we have a little more covering here, okay, right now on the XLF. So we have to watch this. We have to watch this because can we get a turn now? Can we get a turn in the market right now? Because that's what we're looking for right now. We're looking for a reversal, or we're looking for a bounce back, and then boom, we short again, okay? So that's what we're looking for. IWM, small caps. So I want to know what the small caps are doing and what do they do? Of course, not a surprise. Why is this a bounce right here? Okay? Because the covering from the shorts, they got to make their money back. How are you going to make your money back if you don't sell at the support line? Now, it looked like there was consolidation here going on, and then boom, it dropped. Now you drop into where? The demand zone, major demand area. Okay, major demand area, okay, at 193.40. okay? And they know it, and they have to cover to make their money back. But we're looking for a possible reversal here. Okay, are we getting a reversal, or are we just getting a short covering? We want to see. Now, if we get the W and it stops, or it stops higher, we're heading up, okay, on the small caps, okay? So the small caps you want to watch, because that could indicate which way a market is going to go before it even happens to the speculators, okay? So let's look at the DOG, which is the short for the Dow. And the DOG right now went into a sell area, okay, right here in the gap. Now look at that gap right there, okay? That's a supply area right there, okay? It's a supply area. So that's where now you flip over to, let's go over to the Dow Jones, which is the long side of the dog. And what do you have here? Of course, you have the same thing. You're bouncing off of support. Now, we're all bouncing off support here. So you could get a positive day here, or it could turn. I mean, things could turn on a dime. This market is a whipsaw market. It's a trading market, okay? Okay, this is not an investing market right now, okay? I know we're getting pullbacks, but we're at support. 2-hour chart, we're at support on the Dow Jones. So we could get this little bounce here, okay? Now, I want to show everybody something on GDX and gold, okay? So I drew these lines, okay? These are buy points and sell points. Okay, so where were the most money coming in when they bought? Right there, okay, right there and right there, okay? So now when we came back into those areas, look at this, came right into the gap, and they bounced because they have to cover. They know that this is a major demand area. So as you're coming down, they know they have to cover into those areas, okay? So you want to go for the ride too, possibly, right? Okay, so what are we doing here? Well, now let's look at a 2-hour chart on the line chart on the GDX. Okay, so now you're inching here to a demand area. Now let's look at the candles, and let's see how many peaks we have. Okay, how many peaks do we have? Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if we get this kind of thing, and then we base here, and then we're looking for the buy, and then boom, and then we're off to the races with gold. Okay, that's something that we want to do, and that's something that we want to look at. Okay, let's look at it on a daily chart. Okay, and we look at it on a daily chart, and where are we exactly on GDX? We're exactly at support right now. Okay, we're at support right now. Let's go to a 45-minute chart to see where the volume's at. Okay, and see if there's anything coming in here. And right now we're basing in a sideways consolidation. Okay, so we're basing, so you can put your alert right up here if you want. You put your alert at 29.68. Okay, and let's do it. 29.68. Let's put it at 29.70, and let's put the alert. Okay, let's put an alert on there so that if it starts heading up, we get alerted. We'll know. Okay, and we can even put alert below the buy zone to see if it's going to go back down. Right now, there's no buying interest. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on GDX. Okay, but we're following it closely because you know why? We're at a major demand area. Now, we look at Amgen. Let's go to Amgen because that's something that we were working with. Okay, and what do we see with Amgen? Now, the same type of thing. Okay, now Amgen has earnings today. Okay, so let's see what happens here with Amgen. So let's see what kind of reporting they're going to get. Okay, now let's see if they start buying off of this, because we had a massive buyer up here, right in this area, right in this spot at let's say 33. So let's see if it comes back to that. Remember what I say about these, you love these. This is a gift, okay? Now when you look at this, okay, I want you to look at this closely on Amgen, okay? Now we have it the top of the range of this candle. Let's see what the high is. Okay, the high was on July 21st, 2023. The high was 236.38. 230. So now you're at 229.32. Okay, so let's see if they're going to bounce this. Let's go to a 2-hour chart You got to kind of wait for the earnings here, okay? Actually, I think the earnings is August 3rd or 4th. I have to check Yahoo Finance and see actually when the earnings actually is. It might be tomorrow. So you want to see here on the 2-hour chart, you're in where you are at, okay? Right now you're in a major demand area, okay? So I drew the lines where the big buyers were, okay? So I drew these little green things, areas, okay? Greenish gray areas to see where they're at. Okay, so let's see. So now we're on a 2-hour chart. We're still in a downtrend. We're below the moving average, but we're at support right here, okay? So bingo, we're in a major area. Write it down in your book, okay? That's something you want to be watching very closely. Let's move over to a 45-minute chart on Amgen. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so now what do we have here? As we were coming down, we had less interest. Okay, so right here, you came to support. You're like, oh, well, that's support here anyway. Okay, there was no interest. Okay, and you had the distribution right there. Okay, now you say, wait, I was at another little support area right here, but sorry, nobody's home. Okay, now when you get into the demand area, look down. Okay, I see a little something coming here. I see possibly maybe a little accumulation. Okay, so go to a line chart. Let's see if we have any retesting. No, not yet. We have a right side lower. We want to get the W formation maybe on a 45-minute. Sorry about that. But we want to get, let's do that over. We want to get this kind of thing possibly. And then we start heading up, okay? And then we start getting increasing volume coming here, okay? Like we did, let's say, let's move the chart back right in these areas, okay? So you have a little more interest here now, okay? There's some more interest. This is how you read a chart, and you say to yourself, let me decipher what's going on. Let me write this down in a book right now. Say, wait a minute, I'm in a demand zone in Amgen. I want to know. I got to have that piece of paper with me, or just write it down in your notepad in your phone. Okay, you need to know where you are, okay? So you need to actually know exactly where you are. How many peaks are we down here on a 45-minute chart? Okay, 2, 3, and 4. So we could get a reversal here, okay? On a daily chart, if you look at it, you know what? You can't tell. You can't tell because you're like, oh man, we're selling. But what we don't know, what we can't see, when we don't go underneath the hood into the engine, when we go to the smaller time frames, is that we're in a major demand area, okay? So that's where all the shares were, right in that spot. Okay, so we're going to dip into that and see if we want to go into it and grab it too. So right now we're waiting. Okay, we're waiting for that. So if you look at a line chart on a daily chart, so you do have these retests, but Amgen will move pretty quick, so you got to be careful here. Okay, you do have retest W right here. Okay, right there. Okay, and you have a little M formation, so maybe you'll get something like this. And you'll start heading up. Now, if the right side is higher like it is here, you're going to take off, okay? So that just shows they're not selling it, okay? I know it's visual, but it also helps because, you know, they're not selling it, okay? So DHR, let's go over to DHR because we're working with that one. And we got about 5 or 6 more minutes left. So, and I have Costco and HD I want to go over with you. So now, you look at DHR, and DHR is where? In a demand area, okay? But we have a little bit of a problem. Where's the volume, okay? So the volume is crap, okay? So remember what I said here. We have a little bit of a pennant formation here, okay? So remember what happened with Costco with the squeeze play, okay? But we also have a divergence in very low volume here. So you have to be careful with the low volume stuff, okay, because you can get smacked. Always be careful with the low volume. So on a 2-hour chart, you're coming up, you got a capitulation candlestick, but you really don't have any volume here, okay? You're going into this area. Now remember this too. You're coming into support, okay? Major support area right here. Okay, coming into this area here and this area right there. You see it? Those volume sticks. Okay. So you're coming into that area with a lot light volume and you're holding a higher low. Okay. But the volume is stinky. So you could be failing or you could be going sideways. Okay. When you got the okay, now remember this, you are trading within the box right now. And you got a capitulation candlestick right here, okay, right there. So you could start getting, the step up, and then fail in this area again. So you got to be careful once you get up to, let's call it 264. Right now it's 258.51 on DHR. So that's how you'll manage it if you're in that, if that's one of your stocks, let's say. Okay, Costco. Let's go over Costco, and now, Costco on a 2-hour chart, look at the increasing volume here, okay? Let's go to a line chart, okay? I want to see if we're going to get a bounce here on Costco. Okay, so we have a supply area, okay, up in where the red is, okay? So look at this here now, okay? We come off now. Where are we on a weekly basis, okay? So we just nailed. Now, I put that there to show you that we're in a major supply area on Costco, okay? It was a sell area up in this area, okay? And the sell area was in the 562, 569, it ranges, 558. Okay, so now where are you? You're away from the moving average on a weekly chart, okay? So you could drift back to this, okay? So you have to be careful here, okay? You might get an M formation, and that's something that you could be waiting for too. So you don't really have a good M formation for a short yet. But let's see. Now, here's the volume stick here, right here. Okay, what happened to it? It came right to it. It always does. Right here. You have this massive volume stick, and it came right back to it. Okay, it's going to come back to it. Eventually they do. Okay, now you're at support, and you're getting a covering. Okay, so now you go flip over to a 2-hour chart on Costco. And what's happening? Okay, now we already went to the line chart, and we saw we have nothing. Well, we could get this. We could get this kind of thing, and then we get engulfing, and then we take the ride, and then we manage it when we get back all the way at that top there and see what happens. Okay, if it's going to take it out or if it's going to fail there. Okay, and then it's short time. Okay, then it's time to go short. But now you have increasing volume here. Okay, on a 2-hour chart. So I say to myself, I can't really see 100%. I want to really see, as I'm going into this area, what's happening here, okay? So we have sideways consolidation on the 15-minute chart. We have a little bit engulfing, but we're going to get a sideways movement here because we have no volume, okay? And you want this to pull all the way back down again. Let's pull all the way back down again and then hold. And then get an engulf. Then we're heading back up to the next resistance area, okay? And that can be managed in lower time frames, okay? You can always go and see if they're really buying on a 5-minute chart too, and you'll see them holding. They got up and above the resistance line, holding, okay? Now, go to a 45-minute chart and let's see the volume, okay? Now, is there more interest in this area? Definitely, because so now you're in a we're in a demand zone at 552.41 or 553, 552.84 or whatever, and you're bouncing. Now you want to see here what's going to happen right here on a 45-minute chart in the resistance area. Now look at this. Look at Costco coming off a support area. You do have some good buying here, okay, on Costco. You have some good buying here, but what's going to happen here? Now, were you going to get this kind of thing on Costco on a 45-minute chart? We're going to get this, and then a pullback, and then this, and then what happens? We got on a 45-minute chart, we have a bullish head and shoulders. So then we measure. We measure from 551 to 556. That's 5 points from here. So let's say 561, 562. So we'd be going into this range right here. This is where the next supply area would be, okay? And then we have to be careful in that spot, okay? We have to be careful, and that's why take the shares off and then see when it pulls back again, we get back in, okay? And that's how you could day trade it too, okay? I don't recommend day trading unless you really know what you're doing, okay? Because you can get killed, okay? So that's something that you want to watch Costco coming off the bottom here. That's what this could be. But you're in resistance right now on Costco on a 45-minute chart. Flip over to a 2-hour chart, Costco, and we're in resistance. Okay, we're in resistance right now. So this is something that you want to be careful. Okay, let's see if we start breaking up and above. Let's see what happens here. We do have increasing volume here, though. So let's see if for the next 2 hours, what happens with that volume, how that's going to turn out to be. Okay, so the last one of the day, we're going to go over HD. Okay, Home Depot is the last one of the day. And where are we on a 2-hour chart? We're at support. Okay, so we have a lot of stocks at support for a bounce here. Okay, for a little bit of a bounce. August 3rd, 2023. Okay, and let's see, we have a little bit of increasing volume here too. Okay, so as we come up to this area, let's see what happens. Let's see if they're going to rebuy this. Let's see on a 45-minute chart on Home Depot, and the volume looks good coming back to support. Okay, the volume looks good. I mean, we don't have a ton of sellers here. Look at the volume on the 45-minute chart on Home Depot here. Okay, you look at it, keep looking at it here on the bottom where the volume is, and look at the sideways consolidation as we're drifting back. Okay, it looks like they're buying. They might be buying this. Okay, we don't know 100% for sure, but we want to know where we are too. Where do we always have to know where we are. So sorry about the monthly there. We have to know if we're in like a major resistance area. What are we buying into? Okay, we have a divergence on a weekly chart. We have a divergence in volume. That's not good going up. Okay, so that's something that this is possible just a trade, but you're in a supply area, so you have to be very, very careful up here with Home Depot. Okay, very careful with divergence of volume. That's why I was saying know where you are on the weekly chart first. Know where you are. Okay, so coming back to support right in this area here. Okay, so that's something that you could be bouncing and going up to 337.41. Now remember, you didn't really get up to the tippy top yet here, the 339 of the world, and the you didn't get up to that spot yet. Okay, it might be retesting those areas at the 346 range. Okay, and then the 340. Okay, right now we're at 330. So this, remember what I say, be careful because we have earnings. Okay, on the 15th of August. So that's something you have to be careful, okay? And I drew the arrows where the big buyers were coming in, okay? I drew the arrows where the monster buying was coming in, okay? So this is something that on a 15-minute chart or a 30, I like to use a 30 better than a 15 just only because you get less whipsaws and it's a little cleaner, okay? So you're coming off support right now on Home Depot, okay? Coming off support to make the run. You got some decent buyers here, okay? So we could flip over if we're going to micromanage. We want a spot to get into. We want to know if it's going to clear this area with this sideways consolidation on a 5-minute chart, okay? So what are we going to do? So we have to know if we're going to clear this area at 330.82. Let's just say 330.82. Let's clear that. 330. I want to know. So I want to put my alert. I'm going to put an alert there. I'm going to put an alert right there. I want to know if we start breaking out of this sideways consolidation, okay? But remember, you're going to be going right into resistance on a 5-minute chart, so you'll pull back. So you want to know first and then get the pullback. Let's see if that happens. On a 45-minute chart, okay, we're looking good because we got some nice volume here, okay? We're looking pretty good here on Home Depot. And so just wanted to go over that. With that said, have a wonderful day. Wishing a special person today a happy birthday. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week of trading. Be careful as we get in this snapback, okay? Have a great day.